to do us the honors to do the first presentation is in the person of Dr. Victor Abbey. Dr. Victor Abbey is a corporate leader, security strategy, and leadership consultant. He is a mentor and author with an in-depth knowledge, understanding, and experience in diverse corporate operational environment and perspectives, including supply chain, manufacturing, oil and gas industry, spanning over 22 years. He's a distinguished veteran military leader, chief servant and managing partner of V5 Solutions and FV Global Consult, respectively. He is a fellow of this institute, CILG. He's a member of Institute of Directors Ghana, and also the host of Leadership 360 program on Metro TV. He is the author of the book V.U.C.A, that's the world and the future of corporate strategy and leadership, published and launched in 2021 and described by many corporate leaders as the masterpiece and critical strategy book toolkit. He has a doctorate degree in business administration and master's degree in applied business research from SPS Swiss Business School, Swaziland, an executive MBA from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, a bachelor's of arts degree in archaeology and philosophy from University of Ghana, certificates in project management from GEMPA, leadership and crisis management from Geneva Center for Security Policy, GSSP. And he also is a certified trainer of trainers and a specialist in occupational safety and health management. Certificate in cross-cultural negotiation in trade and finance, United Institute of Training and Research, Geneva, Swaziland. Dr. Abbey, this afternoon we are happy to have you take the first the first topic on the role of digital leadership in organizational transformation.
All right, thank you, Country Director, Dr. Adams. It's a great pleasure to be here, and good evening to all of us, distinguished participants here. For purposes of network stability, I may be taking off my video on and off because I just noticed the network is not strong enough. So please bear with me when I go off. Just understand that we have connectivity issues. Indeed, that's why we are doing this digital transformation or digital leadership for organizational transformation so that we can get on track very well. Indeed, this is a great honor for me to be one of the speakers for this public lecture. I must say it's indeed humbling for me to be the one. Without much ado, let me quickly share my slides, then we can proceed from there. All right. Is my screen visible to everyone, please? Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. So this is my humble self on your screen as well. It's Ghana month. So I wish every Ghanaian on this call a happy Ghana month. And as we celebrate the Independence Month, it is my prayer and hope that we all contribute meaningfully to the development of our country. On that score, let me quickly say, most of us may be familiar with this gazelle and lion story. Come each new day, somewhere on the globe, in the jungle somewhere, a gazelle wakes up knowing very well that it must outrun the fastest lion or perish. Same way, a lion wakes up knowing very well that if it does not outrun the fastest gazelle, it will starve to death. This phenomenon is applicable to each and every one of us. whether we are at the individual level, company level, organizational level, or country level, or national level, even globally. The space we find ourselves requires that we keep pace with changing times. Some global events over the past few decades have informed the turbulence within the space we operate in. Events such as the 2008 financial crisis, COVID-19 pandemic, the rapidity in the technological advancement as we see today, and the most recent one, which is still with us, the Ukraine conflict, is events that are dramatically changing or have changed the corporate and the business environment over the past few decades. And what this means is that it has brought in its wake AI-powered Internet of Things. Smartphones are in vogue, very vibrant social media platforms. All these are contributing to some turbulence and unpredictability. Something breaks out today, it is available everywhere. All organizational leaders in the midst of all this are required to transform their organizations to match up with the changing times. And that transformation in the face of all these can only take place through digital leadership in order to thrive. Without this, it is my fervent belief that most organizations will become extinct in no time. And that is what has made the digital leadership non-negotiable in transforming organizations. Remember, I said the Internet of Things are the critical issues that we are dealing with. So the objective or the focus of my presentation this evening is going to border on mirroring the current environment, operational environment we find ourselves in, with a view to, highlighting the tenets of digital leadership in organizational transformation. And then it will set the stage for us to share knowledge so that we all see how we can better our leadership skills in our various organizations, as well as transform our organizations for the better and for us to thrive. To do so, the focus will be on the current global, I'll give a background to the current global operational environment. We'll give a contextual meaning to what we mean by digital leadership and move on to organizational transformation and the role that digital leadership plays in organizational transformation. Then I'll give some few points as call to action for all of us, so that as we leave this engagement session, we have some things to ponder on. We have some things to, apply to our various organizations. Now, quickly to the background, to the kind of environment we find ourselves in today. As indicated earlier, certain events have changed the landscape that businesses and organizations operate. We all, for about 3 decades, we have found ourselves in the world called V.U.C.A, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity surrounded all of us. Some people describe it as tuna, others captured it as money. They are all speaking to the fact that there is so much turbulence, there's so much complexity, there's so much ambiguity around the events that are shaping or determining the fate of most organizations. For now, we have moved from that phase of V.U.C.A, tuna, and bunny to what is now called plaques. It is plaques because the rate of change, the rapidity of change has become so fast that a continuous exponential change is occurring around us every day. Every day we wake up to new things and we are all wondering what is going on. So scholars across the globe, especially within the digital space landscape, have defined it as fast, liquid, and experimental. Please kindly mute your mute your mic for me, please. Christian Pra, your mic is on. Okay, thank you. So in this kind of environment, you realize that flexibility is the order of the day. Boundaryless systems are what we are applying or we are witnessing, which require some competences. They are uncharted because they are unknown terrains. There's nothing like a book or, if you like, a benchmark to measure what is happening or to compare and see what can be done. It requires continuous strategic foresight to be able to overcome. Experimental because day in, day out, new things are being experimented over and over again. If you take the space today, a lot of exploration is going on with regards to how customer experience can be improved in no time, how product delivery can be, expedited, how you can sit anywhere and whether banking, manufacturing, whatever, everything is being, so every day new things are coming up. So that is the kind of world we find ourselves in. One leadership expert, Jacob Morgan, also predicted that by 2030, we're going to have some 6 trends, or these 6 trends are going to inform the outcome or the state we'll find ourselves in 2030. Artificial intelligence, as we see, is on the rise, and the pace of change itself is becoming faster than we can imagine. New talents are emerging. Tech savviness is on the rise. Workers in organizations are becoming younger because the older generations are fading out. Morality, ethics, and transparency issues are high on the priority list of most governments and most citizens across the globe. Purpose and meaning is becoming a trend, and globalization as usual, as we all know. These are issues that have been predicted or have been researched and found to be shaping the future of leadership. And as such, what it means is that if you are a leader within, or as leaders within our various organizations, we need to be abreast with the trends and match up to those, changing events. And hence the need for us to embrace digital leadership. So how do we mean by digital leadership? Let's give some contextual meaning so that we all be on the same page before I proceed. When we talk about digital leadership, in fact, it is a key requirement, a strategic requirement in the flux environment that we find ourselves in, the fast liquid environment that we find ourselves in. It's about leveraging digital technology to drive organizational success. If you want to transform your operations, a leader, any leader who hopes to transform operations, you have no option. I mentioned earlier, it's non-negotiable. It is what is required of every leader to leverage on available digital technologies, current trending technology to change the fate of the organization. Digital leadership also entails the integration of digital strategies into all our undertakings as leaders. It's also about leveraging technology to drive innovations and efficiency, operational efficiency, so as to enable us navigate the flux landscape. With this background as the meaning and what really we talk about, let us not also forget, let me be quick to mention that when we talk about digital leadership, it is not limited to tech industry. In my intro, I mentioned that across the globe, every facet of the economy or of the global economy is experiencing some change or the other. So it doesn't matter whether you are in the tech space or you're in the manufacturing space or you're in the agri space. This digital leadership is applicable to, it's a universal concept and it's applicable to all industries. It is now being seen as the differentiator between thriving and merely surviving. You cannot just survive, you need to thrive. And that is what is very important for all of us to bear in mind as leaders. There are basic principles that underpin the digital leadership concept. It has to do with analytical data informing decision making and dexterity, as in our own flexibility to embrace new trends and creativity, genuinity, and how can we, harness the innovation or the creativity of our, our staff, our workers, our employees. And the digital leadership requires also that you build an ecosystem whereby everybody within the organization is able to contribute meaningfully to the process of transforming your organization. Now, another area where a group, by those principles, we're talking about a leader having a foresight. Remember, I mentioned you must be a visionary thinker. You must look beyond the present. And you must be flexible in your thinking. It's a principle. You cannot be a digital leader if you are fixated on just one product in transforming your organization or in prosecuting the digital agenda within your organization. Innovation is key, data-driven decision-making, customer-centric, because the focus is how can you use digitization or digital technology, leverage it to satisfy your customers? How can you collaborate across? How can you open your mind up to continuous learning? Because new trends are informing the space every day. And there are two aspects when it comes to digital leadership, the character and the competency. As you see on the screen, digital leaders are required to have integrity, must have good intent, their motives must be clear, and the agenda must be, must promote morality, ethics, as I mentioned earlier. Honesty, humility, and courage are all character traits of digital leaders. When it comes to competence, we're looking at capability and the results you want to achieve. You must build capacity, and that is what is important as a digital leader. So these principles must underpin every engagement if you want to see yourself as a digital leader and transform your organization. We are talking about all this because we believe that the digital leadership approach to leading and managing transformations within your organization contributes meaningfully to navigating around all the digital transformations happening around us. In order not to be left behind, if you embrace the digital leadership, you're going to have an improvement in your operational efficiency, customer expectations, as I mentioned earlier. And also important because we all want to remain competitive and adapt to the global trends. They cannot afford to be left behind. Another context so that we can now delve into the role of digital leadership and how it can be applied meaningfully or how it is used to transform our various organizations. Organizational transformation here in the context of this presentation is an intentionally planned approach to changing the structure, culture, and processes within an organization. It is strategic in the sense that it seeks to give an adaptation so as to make the company more competitive and meet future goals. It is not the case that your processes that you are used to will remain that way, and without any effort or without any intentionality, you will see changes. So when we talk about organizational transformation, it must be intentional, and intentionality here is targeted at transforming the structure, the culture, and the processes therein. That is what we mean by that. Now, a few examples of organizational transformation initiatives could be hierarchical structure to more agile, team-based system, and then implementing new digital, technology, transforming operations to sales, merging or acquiring new company. All these will have to, seek to use technology to achieve that. It can also be switching from an on-site, IT infrastructure to cloud-based infrastructure. All these must be intentional, and intentionality is what will bring about transformation. You cannot leave it to, the winds of change. You have to be intentional about it. Now, what is the role of digital leadership in transforming organizations? we have spoken about the fact that the changing times, the rapidity of change is informing technological advancement as well. So how can digital leadership contribute meaningfully? It's about gaining insight, envisioning, and then prototyping and scaling, upscaling, if you like. But let's look critically what it is. The role, generally speaking, has to do with driving initiative or innovations, fostering digital literacy within our organizations so that as people become tech savvy, people become more abreast with the changing times or the global trends, they are able to apply technology to innovate and to bring about transformation. And it's also about adaptability and competitiveness in the digital age. It's also about providing that kind of strategic vision and flexibility, if you like, and focusing on data-driven decision making. We, unlike a few years ago, where decisions are made, somebody will say, on the whims and caprices of the leaders within organizations. Today, data is very much needed to make well-informed decisions that will have long-term impact and transformational impact on organizations. So that is the role of digital leadership. And digital leaders have every reason, every requirement to seek the future, to align the organizations to a system that will transform the organization. Digital leader must be the one who builds an ecosystem, must be the innovation accelerator, and must be able to commit to developing talent, changing the culture within the organization, and providing that energy to drive innovation. And customer championship is driven by digital leadership. When you have transformed your organization digitally or leveraging on technology to transform your organization, you are able to, satisfy the needs of customers. Customer experience will be improved, and business is shaped better. It's about providing direction. It's about alignment. It's about commitment. So digital leadership seeks to achieve all this with the changing trends or the current trends. The flux world we find ourselves is so fast, we cannot afford to stay behind. What about providing the strategic vision and digital transformation? It's about anticipating the future. Digital leadership provide a platform based on data, based on monitoring and evaluation to provide, reasons why things need to change and developing a digital strategy as well. So if you have a digital mindset or leadership mindset, you are more inclined to developing that digital strategy that will transform and drive that digital transformation within your organization. I mentioned earlier, data-driven decision making, leveraging data to gain insights, data management and analytics is what the digital leaders provide for transformation within the organization and data-driven culture. So contributions or innovations are not made just because somebody feels it has to be made. What is the data saying? What is the data speaking to? What is informing the decision? Data must drive the culture, and it is based on the leadership that is provided by the organizational leader. And then fostering innovation requires that the digital leadership cultivate a culture that is innovative and promotes experimentation. It's about accepting, being receptive to new ideas, new ways of doing things. If the traditional leadership where the top management takes all the decision and that is it, it's no longer what is required in the flat environment. We require to promote experimentation, allow people to experiment ideas based on data, available data, and justifications, so that we'll be able to transform our organizations. Data literacy is very important. Digital leadership digital literacy. How many of our people, they are digitally savvy, changing trends? I always tell group of friends, if you give your phone to your child today, what your child will do with that phone, I bet all of us on this call, most of us will not be able to do a quarter of that. So we need to promote digital literacy within if we want to transform our organizations. Then agility and adaptability, we need to respond to change. It is digital leadership that provides the platform for us to be able to respond effectively to changes around us. It allows flexibility to prevail because we leaders become aware of the kind of change that is occurring around them and prioritizing the speed and efficiency, and also conscious of the cybersecurity related issues where we prioritize security, staying informed, and building a security culture where everybody is conscious. For example, a digital leader will ensure that everybody get educated on cybersecurity. So people will not leave their passwords. People will not give their passwords to their colleagues to log in to their systems and all that. All these are roles that digital leadership, plays. But the digital leader himself must be very much knowledgeable in, digital systems. A digital leader who wants to execute or prosecute the agenda of change within the organization by transforming the organization will definitely face some challenges. And some of these challenges come in the form of resistance to change. Everybody, change is a constant thing, but indeed, not all of us in fact, most of us resist change because we are used to the status quo. With new technologies, the fear of the unknown becomes something that will let people resist it. But there are approaches to that. We'll see how we can overcome that. And then because people lack digital literacy, they also feel that the gap will expose them and will not be able to, allow them to perform and get their daily bread. And then some silo units within the systems will operate, disjointed efforts, and also result in challenges where people resist the change that we want to bring as digital leaders. So digital leadership is required to be conscious of some of these challenges. Cultural inertia is also another thing, where the organization is used to one particular way of doing or the process that they've been using for years. And now to change it becomes something else for everybody. The traditional methods seem to be more comfortable to a lot of people. But how can we, as digital leaders, or how can digital leadership overcome these challenges? On the technical side, there must be attention to design, developing, and delivering the right, but before that, we need to provide a very good reason for the change. How data-driven reason, why we need to do this. I think the next topic is going to delve more into data-driven decision-making. So just to indicate to us that to provide a reason for change, we need to base it on, an empirical data-informed, research. And by that, we need to indicate what is the current state, how are we transitioning, and how does the future look like? And then we need to consider the people side as well. We need to engage, stakeholder engagement. We need to adopt, the right measures, the right approach that will suit everybody. And then we use that to achieve whatever we want to achieve. And then success will be ours. Another issue is that if you are once you are getting into the digital leadership space, we must agree and accept the fact that there will be complexities that we need to endure or encounter during the process. And there are these metrics that will indicate to us how to manage complex changes. If the vision is clearly spelled out, there must be skill sets available, incentives must be provided, resources and action plans must be spelled out clearly. And in that case, success will be ours. A digital leadership is required to provide all this so that resistance to change will be minimal. In the absence of these 5 key things, we're going to have problem. Where we have the vision, all right, we have the skill sets, we have the incentives, we have the resources, but there's no action plan clearly spelling out what is to be done, by what timelines and all that. We will start on the wrong foot. And with that, we're going to experience frustrations. There will be more resistance, anxiety, and conflict, and definitely will not succeed that. So if you are a digital leadership enthusiast, which we are preaching here today, that we need to understand that there is a non-negotiable significance of digital leadership, then we need to pay attention to managing complex changes with these metrics. In conclusion, I will say that indeed in the flux world or in the flux landscape that we find ourselves, volatility is no longer constant, but it is compounding. So the issues are compounding every day. So it's not just about volatility. And uncertainty is not just about anticipation and being ready, trying to see what will happen next and all that. It's about, it has become embedded in the very fabric of AI-powered decision making. So whether we like it or not, that is the order of the day. And complexity has taken a different dimension altogether, where AI's ability to process data faster is what is, in fact, is an opportunity for digital leadership to embrace. Then ambiguity has also evolved into uncharted territories where traditional frameworks are no longer applicable. So by that, digital leadership has become a key denominator in driving our success in transforming organizations. Strategic decision-making will empower the employees through the quest to push the digital technology and create a culture that is more adaptable and innovative in the space of the technological changes that we see. As I mentioned from beginning, digital leadership is non-negotiable, and we cannot afford to overlook the digital leadership approach. Digital leadership may also be said to mean adopting or leveraging on technology to transform or to prosecute transformational leadership within our organization. A call to action for me, because of time. If you see me rushing a bit, it's because of available time. The slides will be available to all of us. The call to action for me is, if there are changes, or once we agree that the change around us is so fast and liquid, and we need to understand that it is affecting everybody, not only leadership within the organization. It requires careful planning, patience, and persistence, and we shall succeed. And to do that, we must understand the change capabilities and maturity levels of our various organizations, and we must align the leadership style accordingly to align with the principles that we spelled out from beginning, where flexibility, innovation, promotion of digital literacy, and all that. And then we engage the stakeholders, we promote digital literacy, redesign our processes, and introduce new technologies, and integrate project management approach into implementing our plans. And by that, we are pretty sure that we shall succeed. And then while we succeed, we sustain the outcomes through continuous learning and improvement. Continuous improvement will always see us through it all. On this note, let us remember that the relevance of every knowledge acquired is in its application. The willingness only becomes relevant when the requisite action is taken. I thank you all, and I hand over to Dr. Adams. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abbey, for such a powerful presentation.